Hey everybody, Dom Douglas here for Max Heroes and Villains, and no, my face is not being seen. Instead, this is gameplay focused on Magic the Gathering Arena. So before we get everything started, thank you for watching. Hopefully you like, comment, subscribe, get the algorithms up, and all that other stuff. Now that I've done begging in the first 10 seconds, we're going to get to the meat of the video. We are playing Enchantment Budget in Standard, and some people use that term budget very loosely. I've seen videos of Standard $50 budget, $60 budget, $40 budget. Nah. I'm doing a Standard $15 budget. This deck clocks in at a little over $15. I think it's like $15.70. And it's basically an enchantment budget brew. Right now, Enchantments was a couple months ago when I built the deck. Pretty fire. It's a pretty good archetype, and it still is, especially with a budget build. It's got some punching power, if you will. It definitely punches above its weight class. And the thing about my budget brews is this is not just the 15. This is not just a 60 card deck. I'm also including a sideboard in that budget as well, because if you want to take this to Friday Night Magic, it's a pretty wise move to have a sideboard in your deck. You can rock a 60 all you want, but you won't be able to make any adjustments. And what the sideboards do is compensate for some of the deck's weaknesses against some of its matchups. Now, we kind of have to think a little bit outside of the box on the budget builds, because some sideboard cards could be as expensive, it could be as just as pricey as our entire budget. So what is this deck trying to do? It's simple. Just get enchantments out and load them on top of one creature or two creatures and just go ham on our opponent. In the main board, we play 25 enchantments. Okay, 21 of them are auras. 8 of them are creatures. Four of them are creatures. So we play 4 enchantment creatures in this particular version of the deck. We play 17 creatures in total, and we play 22 lands because our mana count is very low. We're at 1.7 average mana cost, so we can get away with only playing below 23, 24 lands. Now, we're going to kick things off with the 1-drops. Ethereal Armor for 1 white. It's an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. This is often a game ender or something that sets the tempo up. In one of the newest additions for the budget build, Lightwheel Enhancements. It's 1 white. It's an enchantment aura. Either enchant a creature or a vehicle. We don't play any vehicles, so we don't have to worry about that. Start your engines. If you have no speed, it starts at 1. It increases 1 on each of your turns when an opponent loses life. Max speed is 4. Enchantment permit gets +1/+1 and has vigilance. And then if you have max speed, you can cast this card from your graveyard. So we have a little bit of recursion going on with just the Lightwheel Enhancements if we get max speed. Optimistic Scavenger is a 1 white. For a 1/1 human scout, it's got Eerie. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. We don't play any rooms in this one. We're only caring about enchantments, and we play 25 of them. This should be firing off every turn after it comes out. Shardmage's Rescue. This has flash, so we can cast this at any time. We can cast it instant. An enchant creature you control for 1 white mana, and as long as an aura entered this turn, enchanted creature has hexproof. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. As long as this aura entered this turn, enchanted creature has hexproof. So this is kind of like our protection for spells that target our big Voltroned out, if you will, creature. Then in the 2-drop slots, we play 2 copies of Feather of Flight. For 1 and a white, with flash, enchant creature, and when this aura enters, draw a card. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. We play 3 copies of Ossification for 1 and a white. It's an enchantment aura. We have to enchant a basic land we control, and when this aura enters, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until this aura leaves the battlefield. We are playing 4 copies of Fae Flight for 1 and a blue. It's an enchantment aura with flash. Get used to that word. We can play flash spells anytime. We can cast an instant. And then whenever this aura enters, enchanted creature gets hexproof until end of turn, once again doubling up on that protection front with Shardmage. And then enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. It gets hexproof until end of turn. We play 3 copies of Gremlin Tamer for a white and a blue human scout, a 2/2 creature. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. So basically, once again, it's a side plan of kind of getting a mass field of 1/1 tokens. It's just kind of, swarming our opponent. Inquisitive Glimmer, one of the more important cards in the set, that Fox Glimmer that I was talking about earlier, for a white and a blue, for a 2/3, enchantment creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Unlock spells you pay cost 1 less to cast. Do not care about the last line, we only care about that top line. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So basically our Fae Flights become 1 blue, Ossification becomes a white, Feather of Flight becomes 1 white. This gets us multiple spells per turn, especially if we have Gremlin Tamer on field or an Optimistic Scavenger. And a tricky card here. Not many people are playing this, I feel, or weren't playing it when I made this deck months ago. Case File Auditor for 2 and a white for a 1/4 human detective. It's got a big butt on it, that the toughness of the 4, so not many spells are going to be able to kill this thing immediately. But when this creature enters, and whenever you solve a case, we don't care about cases, we're not playing them, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may spend mana as though or mana of any color to cast case spells. We don't care about the case spells. We care about when this creature enters, you may reveal, this is how this card reads in this deck. When this creature enters, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand. We get the fuel on the top 6 cards when this comes in. We play 3 of them, and we get a crack at hopefully getting another enchantment. And then finally, in the spells front, we play 3 Intimidity Trackers. I'm probably saying that very wrong. Once again, flash for a 2/3 human scout. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, draw a card. Once again, we don't care about unlocking rooms. We just care about drawing that card. And we play 3 copies of that. This budget is about $15 right now. $15.70 according to MTG Goldfish. So it's right on that $15 cusp. You could probably score it for a couple bucks cheaper without shipping and handling if you have a local gaming store in your area that has all the commons and uncommons and rares that you need for this deck. But, going to Card Kingdom or TCG Player or, even... there's another one. I'm Star City Games even. You can go to any of those sites and pick all these cards up for around that $15 budget, plus shipping. That doesn't count on these decks, but that's implying that you have a local game store that you can go to. Now, we played 10 plains, 8 islands, and 4 Lonely Arroyos. Why this particular desert are we playing? It's one of the cheapest come-into-play tap lands. The deserts aren't seeing much play anymore. We play 4 of them because, technically speaking, it's 4 extra damage in the deck. We may only see 1 in the game, but we do have that ability to at least get a turn 1 white or blue, so we're great on mana, on top of getting to deal 1 damage to a target opponent, which sometimes is more important than you realize. Now in the sideboard. Sideboard is 4 copies of Witness Protection for a blue aura. Enchant creature, loses all abilities, and is a green and white citizen creature with power and base toughness of 1 and 1, named Legitimate Business Person. This stifles so many decks. This shuts down so many creature-based decks that have abilities. You don't like a Shielded? Cool. Witness Protection it. You don't like, I'm pretty sure, any of the Hauntmoors that came out? Cool. Witness Protection it. I'm pretty sure you can. We play the 4th copy of Ossification in the sideboard, just in case our opponents are playing a lot of creatures and or planeswalkers that we got to handle. Along with 4 copies of Banishing Light, because this exiles a target non-land permanent an opponent controls for 2 and 1 white. This is the really bad enchantments, artifacts, anything that we can get our grubby little hands off of the field, like the massive amount of enchantments or planeswalkers that we don't have a lot to deal with besides, an Ossification. 3 copies of Disdainful Stroke, because this counters a target spell with mana value 4 or greater for 1 and a blue. Once again, we don't play any counter spells in this deck, but sometimes we're going to have to, and our counterspell package is in the sideboard, and it's 3 Disdainful Strokes and 2 Refutes. For 1 and 2 blue with Refute, it's an instant, counter target spell, draw a card, and then discard a card. One of the cheapest counter spells in the game right now. And 1 last copy of Gremlin Tamer in case, I feel like putting this in the sideboard for me was if we're going token for token, if we're going up against another token deck, I'd rather be able to match that power and match that vibe, if you will, with getting more tokens out. So that is the deck entire 75 card deck, 60 card main, 15 card sideboard for about $15. It's Enchantments budgets, and on top of that, we're going to play some games, and not just best of ones here. I didn't build these for best of ones. I built this for a normal, like a legitimate Friday Night Magic environment, best 2 out of 3. Let's get to the action right now. But first, and see, that's landing the airplane. Come close to the speed and the altitude. That's all you got to do. It's budget time here. Budget enchantments. And just going to see. This is showing you, the viewing audience out there, just how potent these decks can or can't be. And as I said, I should have said this earlier, this is not going to win you an FNM. This is not going to win you a game day. This is not going to win you a Pro Tour, an RCQ. But this is just, hey, I might like this deck. And this deck might be an interesting play pattern, a cool play style that I'm digging. And you're only out $15 on these. And to improve to improve this particular deck, I don't think is that much more expensive, to be honest. The mana base is going to hurt because those archives and the new check lands or the weird lands that come in and tap for a white or a blue, but only if you control planes. A playset of those will set you back about $40. But the fact that our first matchup, which you may or may not have seen, and if you do see, it's probably going to be in the end as in the bad matchups, was Azorius control. We have no hope in Azorius going up against an Azorius control deck, because they can just hold up removal counter. I like Glimmer, but we'll keep it. I mean, we got the Arroyos. See how it goes. All right, it's white. I don't like that. We'll see if they are actually playing the... Okay, cool. And we get to keep. I like it. We actually get to keep up a Shardmage. So we're safe here to do a Lonely Arroyo, because we have our Shardmage Rescue, an Ossification, and we can also case file Auditor to show you how powerful this card is. Good Fortune Unicorn. Okay, they are probably a +1/+1 counters deck, and I'm okay with that, because Yeah, I think we just do this because we have enough. And we're going to take that Fae Flight. We got to look at the 6 cards, and we chose the only enchantment. Now we're going to see if they want to trade. I doubt they do. Because what I want to happen is them get a lot of counters on this unicorn, and then we just ossify it. Because it does exile it. So all those +1/+1s. We have found a new target. We have found a new target for our ossifications. All right, so we have to do the plane. We have to do the island, and we're going to do the diamond. They know about our Fae Flight, so let's just cast that now on the Glimmer. And then we could we can hold that back to block. And now you can see we have advantage. We can get rid of whatever else they bring out with Ossification. We have a Fae Flight in the background. When you cast a creature spell, 1/1 mercenary, choose a color. Well, we're flying now, so I don't know if it has lifelink or whatnot. No, it doesn't. All right, so I think we just ossify Thel Savala. And then just hold up. I want to use this Fae Flight or Shardmage Rescue as protection for our Glimmer. Garruk's Uprising, alright. For... I think I just do this now. Just to put a 2-turn clock on him. I think we just case file Auditor again. Got to look at the top 6. We can either Mage Rescue or Glimmer. I think it's Shardmage. Because now they know we have protection in hand, but they don't know we have Fae Flight either. And they have to get 2 or 3 pieces of removal at this point. So, they're going to go for that. We're going to make it hexproofed. And we got a game. So they're on counters. This is the thing about this deck. We're not that well equipped for counters. It's actually a really good matchup for us, especially if they get off to a slow start. That being said, though, one of the first cuts we will make is the Lightwheel Enhancements, because let's get an Ossification in there, and let's get rid of 2 more of the Lightwheels and get 2 Witness Protections. 3 Witness Protections. And then we'll call that done. I mean, we'll have enough to counter and basically make useless their creatures or exile them. That's Scavenger into an Ossification. Yeah, as long as we get a blue mana, because the Ossification's there. And if we get blue, we got Witness Protection. We have Entity Tracker, which is a great card draw engine in this deck. And there's our blue. So we'll just Inquisitive Glimmer and then put that counter on the Glimmer, because Optimistic Scavenger ain't going to attack this game. I'm going to do this at Enemy Tracker. 3. Yeah. Summoning Sick. Yeah, that's Summoning Sick. So we'll see if this is not a mistake. which is okay. It had Death Touch, I forgot. There's there's the elves. Elves up in here. Yeah, there we go. All right. I think we got to get rid of Imperious Perfect with Witness Protection. So we'll make that a 1/1 legitimate business person. We'll target the Optimistic Scavenger. We'll draw a card. We'll play that. I think we could Enmity Tracker. Because there's no point in attacking. So yeah, we'll Enmity Tracker and not attack. Because I want them stuck on with their legitimate business person. Archdruid, cool. Alright. Glimmer is going to make that Ossification and Fae Flight less expensive. It's also an enchantment, and we get to draw 2 cards. This is when this deck starts cooking. Now we get to draw 2. There we go. We will Ossify, using this Plains, Ossify this Elvis Archdruid. Then we will make that more powerful. We'll draw 2 more cards because of the tracker. Do we get to play an island? Yes, we do. And then I think we just go in for a swing. They're going to block the 4/4, get rid of their legitimate business person. Because it has served its purpose. We're going to hold up that Fae Flight. And then possibly Fae Flight into Ethereal Armor next turn. They are mana screwed. They did get borked on mana. Now this is where we're just going to state our intention. It's Fae Flight. We're going to draw 2 cards. We're going to pump this up. We are going to Aurora, deal that damage. Ethereal Armor, draw 2 more cards. And get another counter on it. And yeah, this is how you want to end these games. And then we Witness Protection. That. And this is generally how the game ends, for the most part, with this deck. And even the upgraded version of that deck. Enmity Tracker is an amazing card. I felt bad for our opponent. They got mana borked in the second game. But all in one turn, okay, our Optimistic Scavenger, we turned it into a 16/14 flying first strike. Because Inquisitive Glimmer lowered our enchantment spells by 1 less generic. So we could get the Ossification. We can get the Witness Protection. We can get the Fae Flight and the Feather Flight out, you know. But yeah, we didn't even need Gremlin Tamer that game either. But the +1/+1 counters, when it runs behind on the curve, good matchup. It's still a good matchup for us, even with the budget brew. But I think what made that second game more potent was the only reason why we were able to get away with what we got away with in the second game was because our opponent got mana screwed. Like, that's what happens when you're not drawing your 3rd, 4th mana in early game. And you're stuck on 2. And I felt bad, but with this deck, you got to take... With the budget brews, especially if it like an F&M, you just got to take those wins when you can get them. Because the point of these decks is not to get somebody who's well-versed in Standard to play. This is like to win something with this. These decks are meant for entry level or just to mess around to see if it's a different play style that you might be interested in. And it does the same things, it just doesn't have the powerful cards in it because we're on a budget. So we have the 3 lands, Rescue, a Glimmer, Ossification, Fae Flight. This is a perfect opening. I hope. The only way that could have been better is if we had the Scavenger on the 1-drop. But it's aight. Alright, so elves again. So they got 3 lands coming up. Now, normally, a good play would have been to ossify the Llanowar elves. I want to ossify whatever they want to bring out next. Their 3-drop on turn 2, that's a good ossification target. As our opponent is deep in thoughts. They're deep in thoughts. Teething Wormlet. So they still have 2 lands, so they could theoretically protect the Wormlet. Haywire Might. Uh-oh. Do they blow it up now? Alright, cool. Haywire Might ain't doing nothing. So now we're going to... We are going to ossify the Wormlet. Alright, we're going to do that. We're going to ossify the Wormlet. We're going to bait them into using the Haywire Might. They use the Haywire Might to blow up the Ossification. Okay. Okay. Interesting line there. I wasn't expecting that. That was a good play by our opponent. Because my line was they were going to blow the Haywire Might up to get the Glimmer done. And now this only has 2 artifacts, so it doesn't have Death Touch. So now I think we have to respond by going into the air, so we do have to use our Fae Flight. Now we have the Gremlin Tamer that we can't cast. I think we just cast the Tamer anyway, though. And hope for the best. Here we go! YOLO! Sometimes we just have to, even if it seems like we're going to be behind. If they get rid of our Glimmer, we are in deep trouble even with the Tamer out. Because if we get a white source of land, an untapped Plains would be nice. We could track her into Rescue. No blocks. Down to 10. We did not get the white source that I was hoping for. Oh, we gotta... We can just do that. Aight. I'm still gonna get in the air, though. We need to start pounding some damage out. Alright. So they got the Paw Patch Recruit doubled up. Teething Wormlet. And they're doing this on 2 lands, folks. They have 2 maps, 2 lands, Llanowar Elves. And they were able to get all this out. Like, this deck is built different. So what are they aiming for? What are they aiming for? Emitility Tracker. Well, we're going to Shardmage rescue it, make it hexproof. We got a 1/1. We get to draw a card. So it does have hexproof until end of turn. Not indestructible. Wormlet is going to... We're going to block the Wormlet with the 1/1 maybe. Well, they found their 3rd land. They have a map token. I think we just got to do this, and then I think we just got to do this and hope that they don't have a pump. They didn't. Or a fight. Ugh. Please don't have a fight. Crack the map. Crack the map. You know you want to. Crack the map. What in the... Mark it back, Walker. Put a +1 when this creature dies. Draw a card for each one. All right. Well, we're not going to be able to out-damage them, so... Yeah. All right. We're going to go into game 2. They had our number on that one. I like getting rid of the Lightwheel Enchantments and the 2 Feathers of Flights for 4 Witness Protections. And Witness Protection, Ossification, and Tamer. Because they didn't establish that they had Trample. So if we get Tamer out and we get a bunch of 1/1s that we can flood the board with, those are blockers for days, I feel. So yeah, we're just waiting for our opponent to sideboard. And it looks like they've got their 60. And we've got our 62. So we're going to play. Ooh. I am in love with the curve. This is probably the best curve we could have asked for. Scavenger into Glimmer into either Ossification or Case File Auditor. Worm. Glimmer. Scavenger. Doesn't have Death Touch. And if it's Haywire Might, that's going to be rough. Because Haywire Might in this color combination really hurts. There it is. All right, well, they're not going to let us go. They're not going to let Glimmer live. They shouldn't let Glimmer live. They really shouldn't let Glimmer live. They let Glimmer live. Okay. Let's see if we can bait it. Do they crack it, or do they crack the Witness Protection? They cracked the Witness Protection. So. Yeah, I think I just keep Shardmage Rescue up. Because now they're looking at 5 damage per turn. So as long as we can keep our Glimmer protected, we should be fine. That is a Sentinel. Okay. They can't crack the mat. But we will ossify the Wormlet. They're swinging. Interesting. Interesting. All right, I guess we're off to the races. Ah, crud. Ethereal Armor is so good, but we really do got to ossify the Sentinel, I feel. I feel like we got to ossify the Sentinel. And diversify, make them swinging for 6. It's just cross our fingers. I mean, that may have been the wrong play, but we have a Case File Auditor that we can cast. Hopefully we get a white mana. Ethereal Armor will be nice on a creature. Rose, yep. All right. There. Hopefully it's the Glimmer. All right, cool. We have no way to get rid of Dusk Rose Reliquary either. Now the problem is we could turn Wormlet into a legitimate businessman, but it's still going to be a 5/5. So I think they just turned a corner, and that was a corner I didn't need for them to turn. Armor gets us nowhere. Case file auditor. We didn't pick up a land, so we can't even do that. All right, maybe we go case file auditor for the block. And just go in and try to swing and try to do that pile on top with the scavenger. It might not work. That's our only lie. Block with the auditor. Hope to get a planes so we can rescue armor. Fae Flight. That'll get 3 counters on it, making it 6, 7, 8. Yeah. If we get an island... No, if we get a plains, I think we win. So they did that to do that. Now, it's got Death Touch Ward. We're just going to block with that. We didn't get plains. So I think this is the only thing we can do. Ethereal Armor. Oh, we just got there. Woo! We just got there. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And right there, we were just lucky. But once again, you can see how sometimes you can steal a victory from the jaws of defeat with this deck. Yeah, math was required on that one. But I'm not going to complain, considering that we just kind of pulled that out of our you-know-what. And they went defenses down, too. I can understand, like, that line they took as well. Tamer into Fae Flight. And a human detective. I mean, that leaves us no... We're not as haywire might. And they got Teething Wormlet 3 games in a row. We're not as vulnerable with this line. Yeah, we did draw into a land, which wasn't really good for us, and we really didn't need it. But we're not haywire might vulnerable. Oh, gosh. That card... Oh, gosh. I think that's actually more than the rest of our deck combined. So I don't think we're going to win this one because they are off to a hot start. All gas, no brakes from our opponent here, and I cannot blame them. Wormlet is popping off. And we did steal that We did steal that victory as well. I can't even deny that. That was 100% stolen victory. But we still can't let this happen. It's not... Does it have trample? No. No trample yet. I think we Glimmer. And then Fae Flight the Tamer. Just to get more blockers up and then just start getting some damage in. If it gets destroyed, it gets destroyed, but we gotta like stop, put our foot down and stop taking 5, 6, 7, 10 damage a turn, because as of this moment, I don't think they have the ability to give it trample. Now, if they give the Wormlet trample, we are dead. We are donezo. So they're cycling their second Ozolith. They're going to swing in with that, which is 100% okay, because we can just block the 1/1. So, we got so lucky. And this has Ward 1. So we will, in fact, pay the ward, exile it, make it a 1/1 again. And I think we can just freely attack here. Alright, so we've evened it up a little bit, but once again, they could Haywire Might the Ozolith, and that would be bad news. But right now, we're both kind of now stabled ground. It's whatever they do on their turn is going to be key, because I want to bring a case file auditor into play before I play a land. Sentinel. It's going to do their loop. I mean, I love their deck. Their deck is great. And this is why I wanted the 4th Tamer to just kind of chump block the Wormlets, because as far as I was concerned, I didn't think they had the ability to give it trample. Now, if they give it trample, it's a... we got to go for the Ossification. And I'll tell you why. We're going to Ossify that basic and Ossify this Wormlet and pay... We will pay the cost for that. Getting another... This doesn't have reach. Cool. Because we Ethereal Armor next turn, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4? 5? Plus 5? That's an 8? But yeah, I figured getting the 4th Tamer in the deck and the 4th Ossification is a little bit better. Because... now we have the ability. We have the ability to chump block, but Goldvein Hydra prevents that from happening. That is a trample. That is a Trampopolis. So we do have to block that with that, and then that with that. So we take no damage. Alright. We can Fae Flight, because there's no reach. There's no reach. And then this should help us out even more. Stealing victory from the jaws of defeat again. Ethereal Armor for the win. Our opponent should not feel bad. I absolutely adore their deck, and they were about to beat us. But the biggest disadvantage from what I saw in their game, and it could be the deck list as well, you get a big buffed 10, 12, 20 creature, but there's no trample or flight or menace involved with it. So I can make chump blockers for days. That's why I put the 4th Tamer in. And bringing in the 4th Gremlin Tamer saved us, because then we just stacked the enchantments on top of it with the Ethereal Armor and then stole a victory. This deck does steal victories, folks. And it's stolen 2 of them in that game. And then I think we play one more. Yeah, we'll play one more. And then this is for editing, Dom. We will put in the horrible Azorius game to show you how bad the Azorius control matchup is. I like to be on the play first. And this is beautiful 2-drop. Optimistic in the Fae, into Glimmer, I mean. Yeah. We're playing Enchantments again. Budget style. $15. I think on TCG, I think on Card Kingdom it's like $15.70. On TCG Player, it's like $16 without shipping. And the least packages I can get, like optimizing it, was like 3, so... Alright, they're playing Gruul, so Swift Spear. Alright. No blocks. Now, we're going to Glimmer. Scavenger sees the Glimmer. We're going to pump the Glimmer. That should get Glimmer out of the shock, torch the tower range. Normally, I do that to the Scavenger, but it's one of those things where it's like Bolt the Bird. I will never block with against a Swift Spear because of that. We'll get hit with the 5 damage. That's fine. Because it breaks when this happens. We'll get this out of range a little bit more. And we'll see what our opponent does. They were on that Gruul plan. Ember Heart. With a Swift Spear. I don't see any ability to fly, though. Now, I don't want to ossify. Actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Actually, no. We gotta ossify the Ember Heart. No. Yeah, we gotta ossify the Ember Heart. Pump up the Glimmer. See if they need the block. They do. Because next turn is going to be key. Because they may target Rotisserie Elemental, Lava Runner with the haste. No, it doesn't. Alright, so we could Tamer into Feather Flight. But I feel do we just pound the gas down to the ground? I think we do. And we get to draw a card. So now we've put them in a big predicament. They have 3 creatures to remove. We have the ability to give something flight. We have chump blocks for days. They've plotted a card. And that's game. So we're not going to show them anything else. Didn't want to show them anything else. So they are a definite burn deck. So, once again, Lightwheel Enhancements is always the first 4 to get taken out. But in that first game, it is important when it comes onto the field. Because we need witness protections. I will also take out I'm going to take out a Tamer for an Ossification. So we took a Tamer and the 4 light wheels to get the 4 witness protections and the 4th Ossification into game 2. And our opponent is playing Gruul Prowess, I think. And it can easily be a turn 4 kill. Now, that being said, we got a rough choice, but I think turn 2 Tamer and a turn 3 Glimmer with Ossification, if we hit our land drops, might be the way to go. And we hit that land drop, so that'll be fine. I'll do the Lonely Arroyo. Just that little bit of extra stacking damage. And now this is where we hold our butts in together and we say, please don't have removal, please don't have removal, please don't have removal, because that would be really bad for my plan. Uh-oh. No, that's a monstrous. That's a monstrous rage. Turn inside out. Okay. And another spell, Giant Growth. So see, they're doing the spell version of what we're trying to do. But the problem is, I think we Glimmer. And then we Ossify the Slick Shot. And then we got to get in for some damage. I mean, they did that on turn 2, folks. That's why Slick Shot Show Off. Slick Shot Show Off. Oh, and we have protection for days. So I think we just Feather a Flight the Glimmer. All right. They have priority. They have a spell. Or is it salty time? Nope, it's not salty time. Okay. We can attack freely because Fae Flight has flash. We can give our scavenger flash. I don't want to play the second scavenger in case it's a board wipe. I don't know what board wipe would be at 3, but you never know. Deals 1 damage, so we're now down to 7. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we will see what happens when we just attack. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That should be 10, according to my maths. Yep. I didn't want to rub it in their face. They had the one play where they're like, if this survives, and that's what that deck does. That's what their deck does. If it survives, we win in 2 turns. Look, they did 12 damage on turn 2. On turn 3, I mean. Turn 3 with the Slick Shot Show Off. Turn 3, okay? And they managed to get us to 12-2 Flying Haste on turn 3. And they did 12 points of damage to us. If we didn't get the Ossification for it, we die right then and there. This wasn't like stealing a victory from the jaws of defeat either. This was just hoping that we get one of the 8 or 10 pieces of removal that we have in this deck. So I like our opponent's deck as well. It does fast things. It's really gassed out. Look at this. Turn inside out in a Giant Growth on that turn. But that's what this deck does, and that's what this deck accomplishes so well. The next match you're going to see is what happens when we get into our worst matchup for this deck, which is Azorius Control. And please avert your eyes if you're squeamish or sensitive at all. It is really a bad matchup, and bad things happen to good people in it. So here it is. Introductory budget version of deck archetypes, or just cool brews that I think that you may enjoy as a player. And if you don't like it, you're not out too much money. So in this we have 3 lands, but our first creature doesn't come out until turn 3, but I think we got to keep it. That archive on paper is almost the same amount. This one land is almost the same amount as our entire deck. Just to let you all know how budget constricted we are. So they're holding up 2 blue technically. So I'm just going to bring out a Lonely Arroyo and kind of confuse our opponent because I'm playing Desert. And this is one of the few benefits to playing budget brews, because you have to think outside the box when it comes to mana. They see this Desert and they're like, what? Are they playing deserts? Are they a desert deck? No, we're just a budget deck that's less expensive than your archive. So we have a Jace on the field now.
We can improve upon your idea.
So that's okay. Let's see what they ding-dong ditched us. That's just a flywheel enhancement. That is okay, because we are going to ossify the Jace. And hope that they don't play enchantment removal.
Must be found.
They're highlighting it. Yep, they played enchantment removal. Well, I think we could have... I think we just lost there. I think we've just lost. So, did I accidentally reveal? Have I revealed anything? This is the interesting part. We could concede right now because our opponent really doesn't know what we're doing. I mean, they do know what we're doing, so we might as well play it out. If we didn't get jaced on that last turn, the problem is, no matter what I play is going to get countered. And if it gets countered, I would concede right now and just go to game 2. We've lost.
I will clear your mind.
Because we've been hit with Jace 3 times. They've kept up mana, so we're just going to concede. They kept up mana. We had to concede on that one because we weren't going to get to cast anything. That being said, we're going to need counter spells. So, I don't think the Feather of Flights are going to matter. We might want to play another Ossification because they are playing... what do we do? I think we get rid of the Lightwheels and do 3 Disdainful Strokes and a Refute. Oh, all right, we'll do that. We'll do 2 Refutes, 3 Disdainful Strokes. We're going on a more counter spell. Heavy. Yeah, there's just no point in continuing that first game. So we are going to mulligan this because we do not have a 1-drop. We will keep this and get rid of a rescue. I know having 1 rescue is better than having nothing, but... because then we can just keep it up. So hoping for another white. But you know what? I think we just do that. I'd rather cast the Fae Flight if they try to target our Scavenger. Alright, I think I just want to see if we get... oh. Alright, we didn't get a land. That's bad. This is bad. This is bad. We are stuck right now. So I'm just gonna go in for the attack. We missed the land drop, but I gotta keep this protection up. I gotta keep the Fae Flight and Shardmage's pass up. Give us a land. All right, cool. Now we have a land. So the Ethereal Armor can get countered. They're holding it up. We got to get it out of their hands. They kept it up. Interesting. Now let's see what their response is on that. Okay. So they're going to crack it, draw a card. Interesting. Okay. We're still able to keep up Fae Flight, too, which is great. Jace? I'm hoping for a turn 4 Jace here. That is a get lost. So hopefully they don't have another one. Or a counter. If they have a counter, it's GG's. Yep, good game. Good game. So the post-Carnage report with this deck, we lost 1 and won 2, if I'm not mistaken. we went 3-0 on the games that we recorded. The other game technically makes us 3-1 because Azorius Control is our absolute worst matchup. We stole a lot of victories from the jaws of defeat with this deck, mainly because of Ethereal Armor, and also give it up to Entity Tracker as well. Like, we got to draw so many cards to fuel the enchantment pile on. Like, it's as close to what is called a quote-unquote Bogles deck as possible. And Bogles is basically getting a bunch of enchantments on a creature that can't be targeted and just swinging in and winning the game because it can't, by the time you've enchanted it so much, it can't block. It can't be blocked. It deals 10 damage. It's flying. It's got vigilance. It can hang back. This is not the same as a Bogles deck, but it comes really close because you get a similar playstyle occasionally where you just get to pile on a bunch of enchantments, ending it with Ethereal Armor. And the protections that we put in the deck, like the Rescue, the Fae Flight, help out so much. And yes, Lightwheel Enhancements didn't do a thing for the most part, except for I think one game in the Azorius matchup, but it's still a viable card. It's just the easiest one to replace the 4 of when you're playing 25 enchantments, 21 of them being non-creature enchantments. And usually what happens is you put the witness protections in for creature-based decks, Banishing Light and Ossifications for Planeswalker and Artifact Hate, Disdainful Stroke for big creature stuff. Usually, I used to say it's my Shiro-did hate, but now it could be any of the any of the big mono, big 6/7 drop spells from Duskmourn. I'm forgetting their name. That's those hate. Gremlin Tamer came out on top, came in clutch when it came to having to block big creatures without trample and getting more chump blockers out. And the Refutes is good for counterspells if you need backups for Disdainful Stroke. But so far, I'm happy with the sideboard. I'm happy with the base budget deck. There are massive improvements that you can make to this, mainly in the mana base. The mana base being, well, let's be honest here. We are playing some of the cheapest deserts out there, and we only play these because we could have done Idyllic Beachfront. We could have done the Azorius Guild Gates even. But these are just a little bit less expensive, I think. But also they provide damage. And honestly, I think if I look back on the footage, we won one or two of those games because of that singular point of damage that we were able to do in the first turn of the game because of this land. But you definitely want Flood Farm Verges in there. But once again, those are like $10 a piece. Each one is almost the same price as this deck. Meticulous Archives, powerful card, very powerful card. But upgrade wise, this is also one of these is the same cost as this deck. So if you manage to get a playset of the Archives in and a playset of the Verges in, this deck gets upgraded so much just on the mana base alone and the consistency factor. And also, you could make a case for getting rid of Case File Auditor, but because there's other searches out there for auras, I think, in Standard that are better. But I like the fact that it is so budget-friendly, and it really does just... You look at top 6 cards of your library and pick an enchantment, and we're playing 25 of them. It's a guaranteed hit for the most part. Folks, my name is Dom Douglas for Max Heroes and Villains. Want to thank everybody for watching. The first budget deck tech here, enchantment budgets, Azorius enchantment budgets in Standard, folks. Deck list will be in the description down below, and also deck list will be in the description. That'll take you to probably MTG Goldfish. It'll be in the description as well. So thank you for watching on Max Heroes and Villains. Once again, my name is Dom Douglas, and may your top deck always be mythic. We stole a lot of games today, folks.